Ladies and gentlemen, as you know from past videos that I did on the Amber Geiger case, Botham Jean's family is suing Dallas, and they're also suing Amber Geiger. Details of this lawsuit has been revealed. And that's today, October 22nd, 2018. And this is from News One. I'll leave the link to this article in the description box. The family of the Black man who was killed by a police officer in his own Dallas apartment last month still has plans to sue the city, according to a new report. Botham Jean's family announced their intentions earlier this month to sue Dallas for civil rights violations, but the lawsuit was seemingly in limbo last week after John's mother said some questions she had were being answered by officials. Lawyers representing the family revealed details of the pending lawsuit on Monday, showing exactly what John's parents were hoping to accomplish with it. John's parents say they want their lawsuit to not just focus on how their son died, but to change how police officers are trained about when to fire their weapons. The Dallas Morning News reported Monday afternoon. Part of the lawsuit will focus on what John's family has described as incompetence on the part of law enforcement, including Dallas County District Attorney Faith Johnson. Woo, they're going after her butt too, who reportedly assured the family that the case was progressing. Johnson, who was appointed DA nearly 2 years ago, was running to be elected to the post next month and has at times seemed more concerned with her campaign than John's killing. The Johns also fault Dallas Police Chief Renee Hall for turning over the case to the Rangers and say Dallas police should have kept investigating. Dallas Morning News also reported. Hall has said she turned over the case in an effort to be more transparent, which we know. Ladies and gentlemen, law enforcement is never transparent in this country. They say the words, but their actions are to the contrary. However, Hall at one point in the weeks prohibited from firing Amber Geiger, the officer who killed John. Less than a week later, Geiger was fired. There's also the issue of the criminal charge Geiger was facing. That's right, because they gave her, according to them, manslaughter, and that was definitely not a manslaughter at all. That was a straight up murder. All right. She was charged with manslaughter, but that could be changed to murder, depending on what a grand jury decides. And you know, Geiger is trying to force this thing into a predominantly white county where she turned herself in, which is 30 miles outside of Dallas, where the shooting took place. So she's trying to force a change in venue by turning herself in a whole different county where the crime didn't even happen. However, it was unclear when or if a grand jury would ever convene. It's been nearly 7 weeks since Geiger entered John's apartment and killed him on September 6th. and plausibly confusing her rental unit for his, which nobody is buying. I never met anyone in my whole life that didn't know where they lived. Never met one living soul in my life that didn't know where they lived. Okay, even on my dad's side of the family, my grandfather had Alzheimer's. And that man could still sit down and tell you what his address was. Even with Alzheimer's, he could tell you where he lived. Okay. All right, so let's get back to this. All right, so implausibly confusing her rental unit for his and purportedly suspecting he was an intruder in her home. Not only is she lying, she's a terrible liar. Law enforcement has been accused of helping Geiger cover up her crime, allowing her to avoid criminal charges and remain free nearly 3 days following the shooting before she turned herself in and was arrested. She was finally fired nearly 3 weeks after she killed John. Her toxicology report has also not been released, even though she reportedly submitted to a test the night of the shooting. They haven't even released his autopsy report either. They're refusing to release it. And they won't release the results of her drug test, the toxicology. But at the same token, they want us to believe they are being transparent. Insult our intelligence. John's family attorney, Lee Merritt, told journalist Jordan Chariton last week that Geiger was also given time to delete all of her social media accounts, except for her Pinterest account, which bragged about being violent, being short-tempered. She bragged about use of force, and she spoke out adamantly against things like kneeling during the anthem and said the NFL died of Colin Kaepernick cancer. And the police helped her move, ladies and gentlemen, which again, how the hell do you allow her to move during an investigation? Her apartment was never searched. Her vehicle was never searched, and she got to move out. But they made sure they searched Botham Jean's apartment and found marijuana and wanted to run out to the media and try to pull that stunt. Oh, well, he deserves to die. He had some weed in his apartment. Get the hell out of here with that stuff. We don't need to hear any more of your high IQ conclusions, okay? We done had enough of it. But please, ladies and gentlemen, I feel for his family. I really do. He did not deserve to die like this. And if you really look at what happened that night, what she did was a home invasion. And she killed him. That's why it should be classified as a murder and not manslaughter. There's too many witnesses that night that said they heard her knock on that door and say, "Let me in." Ladies and gentlemen, it was reported that Amber Geiger lived in her apartment alone. If you live alone, why would you knock on your own apartment door and say, let me in, and your ass is the only one that lived there? There were no other people living with her. You don't do that at your own house. If you live alone in your own home, you don't knock on the door and then say, let me in, and you're the only one that lived there. Those high IQs never cease to amaze me. She's not only a liar, but a lousy one on top of that. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen, about this recent details on Botham Jean's family and their lawsuit. I'm glad they are not backing down like we have seen others in the past. They are moving forward against Dallas, and they should. All I've seen in this whole thing is them trying to shield and protect Amber Geiger. And stop telling everybody that you're going to be transparent, and there is no history in this country of law enforcement being transparent. You say all the words, but you never do it. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell. And I will see you on the next video. Peace, family.